everyone. Welcome to the Future of Giving, How Nonprofits Can Leverage Digital Technology. My name is Allie Gary, and I work in marketing for Touch Life Foundation, and I'm joined by a panelist of my peers to discuss the innovative work that has been done on the TALGiving platform. We plan to discuss the future of our platform, how nonprofits, community partners, and individuals can leverage technology, and how you can make a difference in your community and be part of the future of giving. I'm going to allow each of my panelists to introduce themselves. Why don't we start with Priyanka?
Well, hi everyone, I'm Priyanka, and I'm in product marketing here at Touch Life Foundation, and I look forward to today's conversation with all of you.
Great. Anil?
Everyone, I am Anil. I am the product manager at Touch Life Foundation, and I look forward for a great meeting.
Venkat?
Hey, hello everyone. This is Venkat, head of engineering team of Touch Life application development. Yeah.
And Tej?
Hey everyone, I'm Tej, founder of Touch a Life Foundation. Incredibly excited to talk about TAL and the future of what we're doing.
And we're very excited to have you. And actually, Tej, I'd like to start with you because as the founder, can you give us a little bit of background on how Touch Life Foundation came to be?
So Touch a Life started back when I was in high school. I was involved with the nonprofit sector, working with community organizations like Sacred Heart or my public library in terms of helping teach the elderly skills such as Microsoft Word and PowerPoint on the library side, and then on the Sacred Heart side, donating backpacks, socks and sweaters and blankets to the homeless, helping set up their warehouses, etc. And along the way, I had realized that although just the overall homeless population was taken care of, the small segment of homeless high school students were still underserved within our community, and especially within the Bay Area, where you see a lot of wealth and development, there was still a growing homeless population over here. And so in order to address that, we had decided to work with an organization within each of the school districts called the McKinney-Vento orgs. And these orgs were specifically responsible for having a social worker assigned to these students and making sure that they were provided with the school resources that they need. And throughout the years, we've partnered with them, figured out the needs of each school district, and raised funds for each of these students for, again, the basic essentials that people tend to take for granted, things such as backpacks, socks, sweaters, hygiene kits, and hope that it can, help them have, a better school life and just a more well-rounded childhood and a more just a more jovial one. And so now, having gone through that, we started to take a look at, the world of software, how we can use software to actually help these students out and give them a better life. And so we're very excited to, present, our updated TALGiving application during World Kindness Day today, and show everyone all of the amazing capabilities that it has.
Thank you so much, Tej. Anil, as Tej mentioned, last year we rolled out the beta version of the TALGiving platform. Now we are launching our kind of new product, and as a product manager, can you just discuss the TALGiving app, the user experience, kind of how it works, and how people can leverage the new application?
Sure, Ali. So for your question, the first thing, right, when we're talking about user experience, or the first quick things that any user can see, it is very simple. Every user can see their superpower in the TALGiving platform. A power to spread kindness, a power to bring smiles on someone's face without many efforts, a power to bring change in society with ease. So I'll tell you how it goes. So usually in TAL application, so we have 4 different components in the overall application that any user can see without any restriction or limitations. So the first thing that any user can able to see is all the requests or needs of various individuals or organizations based on your particular location. So be it US or India or across any other nations. So, and at the same time, when we're talking about these requests, so it gives a clear information or a detailed information on who the beneficiary is or what the request is or the purpose of the request, the targeted funds or the amount that they want, everything that any user actually wants to know to get the transparent look is what any individual can see in the first glance. Second, the second thing is ability to add a request for cash donation requirement or plasma donation, both as an individual or as an organization. So before I go to the next point, Ali, for the above two things which we talked, one can see cash donation on various categories or segments, ranging from health to education to food to environment, or to health, etc. And plasma donation for both use cases, which is, so let's say a typical individual, who is willing to donate the plasma, or we also have another segment where someone says, I'm willing to, I need plasma. So the options are wide and open to all the individuals, like for both donor and donee, who is willing to donate and who is in need. And third thing is a wide range of inspiring series of podcasts on three different languages, English, Hindi, and Telugu, on a series of real events, stories of individuals that inspires you, that boosts your motive, etc. Last and most important thing is the ability for every user to start or make an email campaign on any request to thousands of your own network, family members, friends, relatives with ease. And the best part is, they're like it's zero charges. Yep. So these are like, the simple 4 steps any user can actually see in the application, the first time they enter in it. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's the key. It's free of charge for anyone who wants to utilize the platform. So whether you are a donor or a donee or a nonprofit, it's free to use and you can track your donations. Anil, you mentioned transparency. You mentioned that a couple of times, being able to see kind of where your donations are going and who is receiving those donations. I want to pose this question to Venkat first and then allow others to comment. But Venkat, you are head of application engineering. Things like transparency, and while we are doing donations on an app, what are some of the specific technology pieces that needed to be included for this application? And was there anything specific to nonprofits and donation that you had to adjust for when you're developing the app?
So definitely, the technology plays a very important role, and especially with the TAL application. So the ability to upload various media assets like images, videos, and documents. So so users would be uploading a lot of images, videos, and documents, and we should have the ability to store them securely and also retrieve them when it is required. And this has to scale for hundreds of thousands of users. So that is a big challenge, and we chose the same platform which is used by the Google Photos. So the Google Cloud platform. So we store all these assets in the Google Cloud, and we should be and the application is scaled in such a way that you should be able to retrieve them as fast as you can. And there's one more example which I want to cite. So the ability to create a donation request, very fast, and it should be very user friendly. So probably, you can create a request just like that in less than a minute, going through the steps, uploading the things and filling the forms. So you should be able to do it seamlessly. So these are very few examples where we have used the technology. And also I wanted to mention the architecture. So the architecture is a scalable architecture. That means, and also, it's a failover. So the application is available round the clock, 365 is 7. So we are leveraging on the Google infrastructure for that. So the application is always available. That is one thing. And also, it's a scalable thing. That means the scalability has been looked at each and every component of the application. So you look at the back end, you look at the database, you look at the front end. So each of these components can be scaled based on the increasing load and increasing usage of the number of users of the application. So these are all the challenges we have handled successfully, and we yeah. I'm glad that the application is being used by the users. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. No, thank you. And it's continuing to adapt as new users come on board and we start to learn more about the needs of our user base, whether they're donors or donees. I know Tej and Anil have been part of the process in updating the application, especially over the last year. Is there any specific features that we've added recently that kind of were driven by users?
So Ali, for your question on the the best feature that we have worked in the last few months, there are like two best things that I would like to say. The first thing is email campaign, which enables any individual or which gives them the power to send out emails to masses. The first best thing is you can send out an email to your friends, family, and colleagues who are your first three pillars, who are there up there to support you when you need something. And again, when we're talking about the email campaign, there are no restrictions in terms of you be able to send it to only 5, 6, or 10 individuals. You can send it to thousands of people without any much trouble in it and without any charges. So this is something that's working brilliant for us based out of our research. That's one thing. The second is when we're talking about Touch a Life and TALGiving as a platform, aggregating multiple applications into one platform is the biggest USP of ours and the most proudest thing of ours. And thanks to Tej for it. So when I'm saying aggregating multiple apps or the concepts, right? So here, any individual or any user can come in and raise a request on cash donations or plasma, and tomorrow they can ask for blood, or uh, they can adopt a pet, or they can learn, they can check with legal team, or they can talk to doctors. They can learn a new things like math, design, science, anything from the experts in the industry. So these are like two best things that we're most proud of, which we have brought up as a features in our application over the last few months.
Just to add on top of what Anil said, we really kind of looked at the whole ecosystem, both on the user side and on the nonprofit organization side. We wanted to make it easier for users to be able to find causes that they care about, champion causes that they care about, and to be able to help them in any which way they can. And we wanted to make it easier for nonprofit organizations to reach out to these users, to spread their message on social media, and for them to be able to vet individuals who may need help, and also to to just share their message through, for instance, the TAL radio program that we have. And so when we look at both sides of the equation, we're trying to make this a better space for giving overall, one that is safer, one that is more convenient, and one that is beyond that of cash. And so when I said connecting both sides to each other, it isn't just limited to cash donations. We want users to be able to help in terms of the way in which they volunteer. As Anil mentioned earlier, in terms of plasma donations and blood donations, we want them to help in terms of just the goods that they can provide, not just in terms of, again, money. And finally, we want them to be able to help in terms of time as well, in terms of volunteering for either vetting the individuals or in terms of being able to help out with any of the operations that a given nonprofit has.
I think that that's a key piece to the TALGiving platform, is that it's really all encompassing and it's continuing to grow. Like Anil mentioned, we are bringing more applications onto the platform itself, and it is cause agnostic. So depending on what your interests are as a donor or a donee, you're able to use one platform to kind of get the help or give the help that you need or want. I want to pivot over to Priyanka, because you're on the front lines in terms of connecting with our users and community partners. You've worked with some of the local schools in the Bay Area, which is where we got our start, but they are now using the TALGiving platform. They've helped us with the beta testing over the last year. Can you let us know how it's going?
Yep, definitely, Ali. I think I have the privilege of actually working with our TAL ecosystem that Tej talked about, the donors and donees. For the past couple of months, what we have been doing is to work with specific schools as well as other nonprofits to see and understand what is it that they require from a TALGiving app perspective, so that we ensure we're meeting their needs. And this is very, very critical given the pandemic situation that we now have. In fact, all the nonprofits and schools out there who are suffering through the pandemic, we hear you. And that is why the TALGiving digital platform is here to help you in that sense. Let me give you an example. I've actually worked closely with Santa Clara Unified School District here in the Bay Area. And with them, we actually devised certain aspects, certain features that we felt were needed for them to come on board the platform, as well as raise their needs. For example, because of the pandemic, they had over 90 students who needed hygiene kits. And when I mean hygiene kits, it's referring to things like toothpaste, toothbrush, soap, and shampoo. It feels really simple, something small, you wouldn't really think twice about it. But in fact, for these students who are receiving these items, this is a huge deal, because every dollar counts, and we try and help them, especially given the pandemic. There is a higher usage of these essentials. So we have worked with Santa Clara Unified School District. Our liaison contacts there have been very helpful, and they have used the TALGiving app. They have raised the request as a fundraiser, and through the fundraiser, they were actually able to garner donations. And once the donations were in place, you're able to deliver these hygiene kits to these students. And we did this not only once, but a couple of times already, and we continue to support them. So this is just one example. And what this actually shows is that there is a lot of need out there, but maybe there is not a single platform that enables everything to come together. This is touching up on what Anil mentioned, which is having different apps, for example, whether it's just cash donation or even plasma blood donation or other aspects. We're having everything in one platform. And in fact, when I work with the donors and donees, this is something that they really appreciate. And this is actually possible given that you see some of our team members on this call today, but there's a larger team behind us who's supporting in this innovation aspect. And we talked about the future of giving. Well, the future of giving is already here today. And that's why there's a lot of innovative things that are happening on the TALGiving platform. There's a lot of enhancements that are coming. Anil touched on them briefly earlier. And these enhancements, I actually work closely with the schools and nonprofits in a form of focus group to understand whether are these on the right track to meet their needs. And it's a reiterative process. And that's really building the whole TAL ecosystem. So I think that's where I'm very excited to work and look forward to having more nonprofits and schools come on board for us across the whole of the US, not only in California.
That's fabulous. Thank you, Priyanka. It's good to see how the work that this team is doing is being translated into the community. This is a question for everyone, depending on who wants to take it on. What are some of the challenges when you're intersecting kind of the idea of innovative technology and kind of the business goals of Silicon Valley with charity and nonprofits? A lot of people, and I include myself in this group, we've worked with nonprofits and charities and communities, and we have gotten used to a certain way of doing things. There is a formula that we follow for fundraising and donation. You know, it's dinners, it's 5Ks, these traditional methods that we put together every year. We kind of have our same donors that come in every year. We can kind of like clockwork plan out how our fundraising year is going to go. Something like TALGiving disrupts this whole process. Have you guys seen any pushback from communities? Did you get feedback that maybe made you reconsider some of the features and how you were designing the application?
Yeah, I think a couple things there, right? First is when we started to work with these nonprofit organizations, the reluctance came not from a pushback of any sort, if you will, but it was more so a just, this is new to us and this is not our traditional way of doing things, right? Because we come at this from a software angle, we take a more tech-focused approach, which means that we're looking at similar things that have been done by maybe a Facebook or, you know, or some things that have been done by GoFundMe or any of the other fundraising platforms that are available over there. But again, there's still this divide between what Silicon Valley, the way that it looks at problems versus the way that nonprofits look at problems, right? A great example of that is nonprofits want to be able to keep people's identity secret, right? Because some people don't want to be able to share the fact that they are going through a hard time or a hard situation. At the same time, sometimes the actual act of just telling people about kindness is so important, and just telling people about these stories helps make people feel more comfortable about the causes that they're giving to. That's why TAL Radio is so important. And so when we combine kind of both sides of the equation, that's where the TALGiving application really shines, because it's not just a pure technology platform and it's not just a pure nonprofit organization. We've seen you know, the challenges of the nonprofit world, but because we have the software-centric approach, we're able to move a lot of those concepts into the 21st century.
Absolutely. Do you think that with COVID-19, the pandemic shutting down the country and the world really, and people getting used to virtual meetings, virtual school, virtual everything at this point, telecommuting, do you think that because it's become our daily norm, that the adjustment period for nonprofits has shortened because it's part of their daily lives now?
Yep, you bring up a very good point, actually, Ali. And because I know pandemic, because of that, things have expedited the adoption of technology. But something that we heard or realized is the whole aspect of, well, of course, moving away from traditional nonprofit, the way they do the fundraisers, but the true impact is in the sympathy versus empathy aspect. So before technology, you know, before we came up with TALGiving, everything was very physical in nature. even before the pandemic, it was very physical in nature. People used to go and donate items, for example. So it was, people are very empathetic. When I say sympathy, it just means maybe they see a visual and then they feel, oh, that's sad, poor kid or poor person who's going through. But the empathy aspect is adding another layer. And that is something that has changed. What we're hearing, people are just maybe sympathetic, but to get to that empathy level, that's something that needs to improve. The engagement needs to increase. And that's a challenge that a lot of nonprofits are facing when they're using technology. Technology is an enabler for sure. TALGiving is an enabler for this donation, but we're looking at ways on how to bring that sympathy, empathy gap shorter. For example, the young generation, they may not really know. And given the pandemic situation, everything's virtual. How would they know exactly what are the true challenges? For example, Tej mentioned at the beginning of the video, he was inspired because of his experience of what he saw out in the environment. So that's really the empathy aspect. He took a step beyond sympathy. And that is where I think from TALGiving perspective, when we're working with nonprofits, we also want to share with them that the platform allows, for example, uploads of videos, images that Venk had mentioned. All that helps to bring in a layer of empathy, the real authenticity behind why or what's the real need out there. Just sort of tying everything together. You want to not just have sympathy, you want empathy. So you want people to take an action. And that action, because of the way the environment is right now, we have TALGiving to give you that digital platform.
No, absolutely, Priyanka. I think that you said it perfectly. It is bridging the gap, which is part of the Touch a Life mission. And you can see how on the platform with the features that Neil mentioned, bringing on TAL Radio to spread awareness, using social media to let people know what the issues are, but then we are connecting it to the actual donation piece and bringing action to causes. I think that that's very important. And in this time when we are all stuck in our homes, the fact that we can leverage technology to stay connected and be aware, especially as needs continue to rise. And a lot of our other panels will discuss the needs that are arising around the world because of the pandemic, but also despite the pandemic. It's great to see that there is a single platform that is taking into account all of these pieces. So, like I said, last year at our TAL event, we announced the beta version of the TALGiving platform. Within a year, we've seen a lot of innovation and change. We've learned a lot. Venkat's team has been hard at work making updates. What's next? Tej, 5 years from now, where do we see Touch a Life going? What are some of the plans for the future?
So let's start with a couple. One is more ways of giving, right? We want to move beyond purely cash donations. We want to be more global. We want to, beyond just helping your community, a lot of people, I mean, living in a truly global world means people are moving from all over the place. You can start out with your life in India, and then you come to the US, or maybe you move to the UK. And with that, you start to have an identity that goes beyond just a single country or a single community. And in order to facilitate that, the TALGiving application truly needs to be a global platform that facilitates all sorts of currencies and all sorts of communities. And finally, we really want to, again, going back into dissecting each of the individual elements of a nonprofit organization, we want to be able to go into each of them and show, here are how our TAL Scouts program, our TAL ambassadors, here's how they can help you in each of these individual pieces to make your nonprofit better enabled for the future of the world, which is basically internet enabled, right? We have a lot of very smart technology executives and students who are learning computer science to be able to help out with these things. I think that, you know, all of these nonprofits will be better served by just being able to, you know, rethink the way that they do things based off of, the internet, right? And I think each of the students and each of our TAL ambassadors, they will all be better served as well, being able to work with these nonprofit organizations and, help feel like they are a part of something bigger.
Absolutely. So if nonprofits or really even individuals want to be part of this future wave of giving, how do they get involved?
So if somebody wants to work with TALGiving, and whether you're a nonprofit or a school or just an individual who has needs that we could help with our whole TAL ecosystem, you could do it simply. Either you could visit our website, www.touchalife.org, or reach out to us at info@touchalife.org. So these ways we could get you started. Once on the Touch a Life website, you have the option of logging into TALGiving. And the way it's designed, it's really very self-service. So you wouldn't have any issues just creating an account and raising your fund for a fundraiser. If you feel like you would like to get into a more strategic partnership, that's where you do contact us, and our team will work with you on the specific causes that you would like help in, promotion in. The benefits that from a TALGiving perspective is the convenience, because you would have everything managed from a TALGiving platform. We'll just work with you on that cause. What are your needs? You'll also be benefiting from the 0% platform fee, where we, from a Touch a Life perspective, we don't take any cuts. So all the donation would go directly to you as a nonprofit. And also the other piece is the transparency. So you would have that flexibility to see and have that connection, one-to-one connection with donors and donors. So having all that together, if this is something that you're interested in, and you also want to work with TALGiving to improve or get enhancements specific to your cause or specific to your needs, that's when you reach out to us. And we'll be happy to work with you. So the whole team would be helping you in various aspects. So the first part is, of course, logging in or downloading the app. And that would be on a self-service manner. And if you need more strategic information, that would be when you reach out to us at info@touchalife.org. And so far, we have already helped over 2,000 students and over 50 over different nonprofits and schools. So we are very excited to have you join on board. We are always welcoming to whoever is in need, and that's where we want to spread kindness. We really want to impact the future of giving through spreading kindness, and we welcome you on board.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. I want to quickly just go back to the technology of the app, since, as Tej mentioned, we are a technology company as much as we are a nonprofit company. Venkat, what are some of the innovative technologies we are using to secure our users' donations?
So the security is very important. So you'd be glad to know that we are using highest security standards in our application. So one simple example would be the password, the confidential information of the user. So that information is encrypted using Scrypt library. So that is the highest encryption standards used by Google, actually. So we are using those encryption standards. And also, so the donation information, as you mentioned, so we are using Stripe payment gateway. So we actually don't store any the sensitive or confidential information related to the user. So these are the some of the standards that we are following to ensure that the people's data is secured, and also they can feel confident in using our platform. Yeah.
And Tej, there is one technology in particular that a lot of people have been discussing in the development of this app. Can you touch on how we're utilizing blockchain on the application?
Yes, so we are very excited to be using this technology. I think there's been a lot of developments within the area in recent days. One is we want to be able to use this to better identify individuals while keeping their privacy safe. So the area of zero knowledge proofs and the area of self-sovereign identity has become a lot more popular within blockchain. And what that means is that if a given user has a need on the application, they do not need to share any more personal details than they have to, and they can still be verified by the application. And so all of their credentials will be stored on app rather than in database, and we will only keep an encrypted version of the information. So that's one thing. The other area is blockchain has also gotten a lot better in terms of being able to do international money transfer and has made that process significantly cheaper and faster. So when I mentioned going into a global platform and a global marketplace, we're looking at blockchain technology to be able to enable that. So again, on the preserving identity side and finally on the money side, we're looking at blockchain to be able to help in both of those aspects.
Also, I want to add one more point regarding the security. So you would be seeing that the user will have the flexibility of joining the TAL platform using one of the social logins like Google or Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter. So what that means is they don't have to give any of their information to us, including the passwords. So they just can join with their Google credentials, and those credentials are safe with Google, and we don't even know anything about that. I want to add one more point to the blockchain thing. So in future, we want to enable the payments, the donation payments using blockchain technology. So that means user will have the flexibility of donating not only in terms of the native currencies, but also cryptocurrencies like BTC or ETH or any of the currencies. So that way the transfer charges, the fee collected by the third parties would be reduced drastically, and also will be giving flexible payment options to the user. So that would enable global payments very easy on our platform.
Thank you, Venka. I think that those features speak to the TAL goal for accessibility in donation. We've talked a lot about the different ways that people can contribute. We've talked about the transparency in giving. We've talked about how the TALGiving platform is cause agnostic, so everybody has one platform where they can go and find the causes that they care about and donate, and making it easy to access with your social media or Google IDs. It's really about making the donation process easier and accessible. So thank you for that. We are just about out of time. So I'd like to open up the floor to all of the panelists. Is there any closing thoughts, anything you want to make sure that nonprofits, future users or current users should know about the platform? Anything we didn't get a chance to cover?
Yeah, so definitely I wanted to highlight the public profile page for the individuals as well as for the organizations. So, so we have given the ability of an exclusive page for each individual and also each organization who would be using our application. So that is a page where they can showcase their credibility. So that's a page where we show the donation requests created by the individual or by the organization. That's a page where they can upload their videos, images, and also showcase about their accomplishments. So that's an exclusive public profile page for individual as well as organization.
Would you say it's similar to a social media profile?
Social media profile, what I would like to call it as the kindness page for individual and for the organization. So there we show the kindness points earned by the individual and also the donation requests and the causes that they have raised, and they are working to make this world a better place to live. Yeah.
That's wonderful. You mentioned kindness points, which I realized is a feature we didn't get to discuss. Now, kindness points are the gamification piece of the application, correct?
Right. Yes, Ali. So the idea behind this is for any individual who is, who does any activity in the application, be it registering themselves as a user in the application, starting from there to making a donation on various causes, the number of donations they made, the requests that they add, irrespective of the activity. And for any of their activity, every user will get certain number of kindness points. And these points are the main idea behind these points, giving these points to every user is they can redeem these points in the future, be it they get a voucher or they get a gift card from Touch Life, which they can use it in any of the e-commerce platforms. So that's the idea that we have behind these kindness points. Yep.
Great. And again, it's about making donation fun and easy, and part of your everyday routine, really.
All right.
And awarding people for their kindness.
Yeah.
Totally,
Any
yes.
other closing thoughts?
I think final closing thoughts is please download the app on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store if you haven't done so already. We want people to start putting their causes on the application and to get their friends and family excited about those causes through the TALGiving application. So please be an active member of your community and help us be a part of that journey.
Absolutely. And recognize that as becoming part of the TALGiving community, you get the support of the TALGiving team as well. So we are here to support you as much as we are a nonprofit. We are all supporting other nonprofits. So again, that was TALGiving on the Google Play or Apple application store. Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate the conversation. For our viewers, if you have any questions about the TALGiving app or about Touch a Life Foundation in general, feel free to reach out to us. We are on social media at TALGiving on all major social media platforms. You can also reach us on our website. That's touchalife.org. And like we said, download the TALGiving app and get started. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Angel.